Somehow, there is a race in the AI industry, and the AI industry across the world is obsessed with the idea that we have to create demigods. And by demigod, I mean that we have to create foundational models, deep learning model, large language models, which are able to process large sum of information, which are trained on billions of parameters, and thus should be able to respond to every query which is being asked to them. In some way, I believe that this behavior is driven by Google because it is able to answer every question which has been asked. And this has given the direction to AI industry that we have to build models which are able to respond to such queries. Of course, in a way, it is serving well to the shareholders and investor because every major corporate is releasing a new model which is trained on more parameters every few months. But is that the way towards AGI, artificial general intelligence, or the human level intelligence which in a way we want to achieve? And the more I think about this, I think that's not the way forward. The machine learning models, deep learning models, and foundational models, the way we are training them today, is not the path forward. A model which is trained on billions of parameters and have access to too much information is not the way forward for us. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about this subject from a philosophical perspective. And let's take a step back and bring into account an infant, a human child, who through evolution have come to this point that they learn. Now let's take a look at how do they reason around. How do they think? How do they process information and how they are able to respond to queries? If you place an infant on a road where there is a car coming at high speed or there is a snake or dangerous insect nearby, does he take a step back? Is he cautious about the car which is approaching or does he try to hold that moving object or insect? We see that unless the learned behavior is not there, the supervised learning is not there, the child would try to, the infant would try to hold that. And through that learned behavior, through the supervised learning which is being provided in their environment, they now respond differently. So let's take it a step forward. Let's say there is a child who sees the vehicle for the first time, an object which he has not seen before. You would notice that these children, the children, when they are learning, they ask a question repetitively. What is it? Then they would ask after a few seconds, what is it again? This is because their neurons are being established inside the brain. There is a pathway which is getting concrete. So let's say there is a child who asks the mother, what is it about a vehicle? And he gets a reply, this is a vehicle. What does it do? It helps us move from one place to another. But think of a scenario where the same question is now being asked to the father. But the father has association with the vehicle and he might respond, this is the love of my life. This is something for which I have invested countless hours. This is a dream come true. And you would see that now there's a different pathway which is being developed for that child because there is a human element coming into play. And that is the core which I want to talk about. Every single one of us is different based upon the interaction that we had in our surrounding. And that's where the nurture comes up. Now, this is a very important thing to talk about from the perspective of a machine learning model that they have to evolve like that. If I would be building a startup right now, if I would be Stanford or MIT, I would actually start a project where I would acquire all the visual feed of infants or the children, all the text that they are hearing, all the audio signal that they are receiving, the conversation which is taking place around object, and each child is having a different experience. And my take on the subject is that if you provide that nurture, the same nurture to a model, it will behave differently and it will have a personality. And this personality is at the heart of the equation. As we move forward in this discussion, it will become obvious to you that without the personalities of the model, we are not moving in the right direction. We are just throwing a bunch of information on the model. It lacks personality, and because it lacks personality, it will never be able to achieve the AGI that we're looking forward for, or the human level problem that we have to interface in the days to come. And so the framework would be driven based on some of the principal questions which the model would always ask whenever it will see receive a signal which it has not seen before. So the first time it will see a vehicle or any object, it will ask what it is. What does it do? So the core function would be made obvious to them and various other questions around what, why, how, and when. So if we evolve the model through personalized experiences, you would bring into account cultures and religion as well. So let's say we come across a bottle. The machine learning model queries what is it? It is the first time it has seen an object of this sort. And let's say that that's a bottle which is not considered healthy in certain disciplines. Let's say it's wine, which certain cultures or certain religion do not dictate. So now the learned behavior of the model would be different. In certain culture, it will be told to them, this is a drink that we consume, but you're not allowed to touch it before a certain age. In certain culture, it will be told that this is a drink which is just not allowed. And so a personality will evolve out of it. What's the advantage out of that personality, if you ask me? You see, if I'm in a European nation, I'm a child who for the first time goes out, and I see that my father collides with somebody, both parties would say sorry immediately. Is it the same experience that a child in third world nation countries like ours will get? The best I can think of is that when the collision takes place, one of the party would try to influence the other in a way that, well, you're not watching where you're going. And as you can see, again, the culture is going to be dominant. Why should that be brought into account when we are training the AI model? Because tomorrow this AI model will become a judge and he will have to take a verdict, will have to pass a verdict. So, how can you think that a model which is not trained around a particular culture, around a particular area demographic, without a certain mindset, would be able to be equitable, would be able to just and make a decision about something? And that's where I think we are going wrong in the AI industry because as we go through this process, as we evolve the model through specialized learning around certain experiences, we will be able to exhibit certain characteristics. That's also important because if I go to GPT today, ChatGPT, let's say, and I say write down a poem in a particular style, it is able to do that because it has that information, but it lacks that particular style. And because it lacks that particular style, it will never be truly able to mimic it because you will flood it with more information. It will start hallucinating somewhere across the lines. The numbers, the variables as they are represented in a machine learning model, they will start mixing up. So it will never be truly able to mimic William's Wordsworth versus Dr. Iqbal versus Hafiz from Persian literature. So I give rise to the notion that we start moving in the direction that we start building models which are personalized, not only towards industry, but they exhibit a particular flavor. Again, this is a subjective opinion. I just wanted to record it because I think that's one way the industry should move forward. And I would certainly want to interact with a human level model, with a model which is trained around a particular personality. That's it from my side, and I hope to talk to you again. Thank you.